So let's start. We're going to talk about anxiety. Let's start by just calming our systems down before we go anywhere. So very gently breathe through your nose, noticing the temperature of the air as you breathe in, and then notice the temperature of the air as you breathe out, and do it with a smile. And again, breathing in. And one more time, breathing in through your nose and out with a big sigh, and turning the corners of your mouth up. Now, why have I done that? Our brain doesn't know what's true and what isn't true, so it takes signals from us. The problem with anxiety is that the brain goes into overaction. Now, that 3 breathing, what I call a self-satisfied sigh, tells the brain that everything's a-okay. It's the type of sigh that you use at the end of the day. You know, when you take that cup of tea and you sit down and you go, the brain sees that as a signal that things are finished, things are complete. Also, girls, you know this one. When you take your bra off at the end of the day and you go, you're sending a signal to your brain that everything's a-okay. So if you feel that your anxiety is starting to rise, what we need to do is to change the brain chemistry, and that's the quickest one to do it. So breathe in, let's do it again. Turn the corners of your mouth up. 2 more times. 1 more. Okay. So what is anxiety? Let me tell you what anxiety isn't. Anxiety isn't straightforward worries. Anxiety isn't worrying about what other people think of you and what they might not do or they might do. I've got to pick this up because I did do some notes earlier. So anxiety isn't overwhelm or feeling burdened. In this day and age, we tend to put the label anxiety on everything. Anything and everything that doesn't work for us, oh, it's anxiety. It isn't. Now, we have to have a certain amount of anxiety in our life because it keeps us safe. The issue is, in the Western world, it's gone rife because we've not got anything to worry about. We might have money worries. That's a standard worry. It's a very standard worry. You might have niggly things to worry about, which are standard worries, and that's what they are. They're worries. They're not anxiety. So what's going on? Firstly, because we're in the Western world, we don't have to struggle for anything. If you turn the tap on, you get hot water. And the chances are, if you turn that tap on, you'll get water at any time, place, or what have you. If you don't, it just means you call a plumber and get a plumber in to fix it. It's not the end of the world. We are not living in a society where we are having to worry about the neighbouring village coming and marauding and raping our wives and stealing our food. We haven't got to worry about a pack of lions attacking us. We haven't got to worry about the next mouthful of food that we've actually physically got to go out and hunt. Now, anxiety is triggered by our primal system, our primal program. Loads and loads of different names for this primal program, but for me, it's the easiest one for me to use, primal program. So a lot of people have said to me when I've asked the question, what does anxiety feel like, or what is it to you? A lot of people have said, oh, I get butterflies. Okay. So if that's you, just mentally go into your head and feel those butterflies. Now that is your primal program, just giving you an alert. At that point in time, just have a quick look around, find out what it is that it's trying to get you to be alert to. And if there's nothing there, do the 3 breaths. This is going to go on all the way through this program. Guess what? So your primal program is our physical system, and it's designed to keep us safe. It is ancient. It is absolutely ancient. It is in our system and has been for millennia upon millennia. The problem is, in this day and age, we don't need it particularly, and we don't use it, but it still runs. But when it triggers, we have no idea what to do with it, and our brains, our big fat stupid brains, take over. Oh, I'm feeling anxious, there must be something to be anxious about. And then we'll go keep looking, keep searching until we find some shit to be anxious about, and then we make up more shit to pile on top of that shit. Now let's go down to the basics. So when you get an anxiety alert from your primal system, that's coming, that's what it is. It's just an alert. Now it happens with a lot of people when they wake up first thing in the morning, they get the straight away. Now all that is the primal program just having a quick hunt around to see if you're safe. Now when you feel that, just go into the sensation. So if you can trigger that sensation right now, try this. Find out where the sensation is. Okay, and now feel it and notice what direction it's going in. And if you can find the direction that that movement in your system is going in, you know, that lurch or that butterfly or the sinking feeling, get it to move in the opposite direction, and you will notice your mood change. You will notice your anxiety will start to soften. Now if you can't get a direction of that sensation in your body, then what you do in your mind's eye is expand the sensation and then make it smaller, and then expand the sensation and then make it smaller. And again, what you're doing is you're changing your brain chemistry, and you're also soothing your primal system that's put you in alert in the first place, telling it that it's A-okay. Now a lot of people might get offended by what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. And if you want to go, that's up to you. But it might give you an idea of why you feel that you're anxious, because you don't want to listen to advice. So a lot of people pin anxiety on worry. Now, worry is a normal thing. Oh my God, I've got worries, I've got to pay the bill. That's not anxiety. It's a straightforward worry. I'm worried how my kids are doing at school. That's a normal worry. Okay, but a lot of people put on the label anxiety on, say, for instance, overwhelm or feeling burdened. That's not anxiety. It is what it is. You're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling burdened. But because anxiety is such a hip word, it's really trendy to use that one, but it isn't suitable in that case. And you're also doing a disservice to people who do genuinely suffer from anxiety conditions. Now, the other thing that comes up is I'm worried about what other people think. That's not anxiety. That is you not paying any attention to what's going on with you and being nosy about what everybody else is thinking. The other side of it is, how much attention do you get by playing on your anxiety? I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, but this is a genuine question that you need to ask, because a lot of people get a lot of mileage out of being anxious. They get attention, they get sympathy, they get propped up, they get supported, they feel important because they have anxiety. Now the chances are they haven't got anxiety. They are ramping themselves up so they can get the attention that they need through the word anxiety. Genuine anxiety is a crippling problem, but it can be changed with very, very simple tricks. So the primal program, recognize it. Next time you feel that you've got anxiety coming up, you will feel it in your body somewhere. So if you notice it in your head straight away, go into your body, have a feel about where it is in your body, and try the exercises. You either spin it in the opposite direction to the way that it's going, or you make it bigger and then you make it smaller, and you make it bigger and you make it smaller. And what's happening is you're changing your body chemistry. The other one, very quickly, which is going to look odd if you're just tuning in, is to stimulate the vagal nerve, which is this nerve here. It runs all the way down here, and to stimulate it, you want to pull your tummy muscle into your spine. So you're pulling in, in, ha, 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 ha. That also calms the mind and changes the brain chemistry. Now, what happens is when we get into anxiety thinking, we will start to run with a story. Now, that's exactly what it is. It's a story. And the issue is that you're making stuff up before you got to the conclusion. So if that is the case and you notice, oh my God, I've got to go on a train journey. What happens if this and what happens if that and what happens if stop. Work out what it is that you've got in control right now, this minute. Okay, so I'm going on a train journey. Have I got my ticket? Tick, yes. Can I get to the station? Tick, yes. What contingency have I got in place if the train is late? How important is it? Fine, that problem's solved. And do I need disabled access? Blah, blah, blah. So look at the things that you can deal with your anxious thoughts about your train journey tomorrow. Once you've got those in place, the brain will then start to trust you, because a lot of anxiety comes up because your brain and your body, and there's an aspect of yourself that doesn't trust you. So you need to start to train your brain to trust you. So you put in place the things that you're anxious about in the future. You put in place the things that you can do now. Then your body will start to calm down, your brain will start to calm down, and your chemistry will start to change. And your brain, your mind will have confidence in the fact that you know what you're doing. When your mind runs amok and you don't stop it, everybody is feeling insecure. They don't know where the hell they are. They don't know where to stop them. They don't know where to stand. So if you can create confidence in your brain that you know what you're doing, then your anxiety issues will become less and less and less and less and less. Okay, so that's one trick. The next trick, if you end up going into this, and it just really is impossible to stop, because sometimes when you get to the top of the roller coaster and the car starts to go, you can't stop it. It's just got to go. So get yourself a pen and a piece of paper and just write everything down that's in here. Absolutely everything. Anybody who's done my program knows that this is called the blah exercise. And it's an exercise that writers use before they start to sit down and write whatever it is they need to write. So it's to get rid of all the shit that's in the head that is getting in the way. And with anxious thinking, that's all it is. It's shit. It's stuff that's being made up. So sit down with a piece of paper and write. And what you're going to do is write one massive sentence. So you're not worrying about capital letters. You are not putting in any punctuation whatsoever. You're not even putting breaks between your words. You're not using paragraphs. You are just literally writing. Keep going for 5 minutes and write as fast as you possibly can. And it does not matter what it looks like, what it reads like, what words you put in there. Whatever words come into your head, you write it all down. 5 minutes, and you go at it for 5 minutes. At the very end of 5 minutes, you ring out another couple of words that could be cup of tea, no snot. It doesn't matter what they are. Just write it down. Anybody who's done my program will tell you that this is one of the most effective ways to calm down anxiety. The brain does not like not to have conclusions. So if a thought goes in there and you tend to think anxiously, what happens is the brain goes, oh, I need the conclusion. I want the conclusion. Give me the conclusion. So then it starts to make shit up. Oh my God. Oh, what happens when, oh, no. And then that could happen and this could happen. Oh, no. And it just goes on. So that's called a critical 8. And what happens there is you have the thought patterns that start up here. And then the brain will take it down to here and hope that there's a conclusion. It hasn't worked out a conclusion, so it takes it all the way back up to the top, and the madness starts again. And down to the bottom it goes. Oh, can't do it. Oh my God, let's sort it out again. I'll try it again. I'll get it down. Okay, and it's still not sorted out, and off it goes, and it keeps going. It's called the critical 8. And what we need to do is short circuit the critical 8, and the blah exercise is perfect for that. The other one is to actually stop just for 1 second, take your 3 self-satisfied sighs, okay, and then write down the worst case scenario of what it is that you're worrying about. So, I don't know, a motorway journey, I might get lost. So you write down the worst case scenario. Then you work out how you will cope, how you will deal with getting lost. I might have a flat tire. So how are you going to cope with that? How are you going to deal with having a flat tire? Me, I call out the little man in the yellow van because I can never shift the nuts on the flipping tires. But I never panic about it because panicking doesn't change anything. What happens is with panic, we're kicking off the primal system from our mind this time round. Panic floods us with adrenaline. Now, the reason we're flooding our systems with adrenaline, remember that the primal program is a very, very ancient program there for our survival, but we don't need it in this day and age, and we've got no idea about it, no clue, and we just overthink when we feel it kick in. But our mind can kick the primal program in as well. So when we start to panic, what happens is we flood our systems with adrenaline. With some people, our bodies actually go numb. Now, what we're doing there is preparing to run for our fucking lives, to get the hell out of there. And the body going numb means that you can run further because you can't feel the pain in your body. So that's being triggered by the mind. So we again need to calm that thinking down. So try this one. When your mind goes frantic, again, your 3 self-satisfied sighs. I'm going to be as high as a kite by the end of this video. And another one. Lovely. So that calms the system down. Then get into some form of physical action. Get into some form of movement, some sort of physical action so that you're pushing the adrenaline out of your system. What we're talking about here is the primal program triggers off fear, okay? Now the primal program triggers off fear, floods our system with the chemicals to deal with whatever danger we perceive that there is. And of course, they're all mental dangers. In the Western world, we don't need to be anxious. We've got everything we need. And I don't care how poor you are, you still have everything you need in comparison to the third world countries. Now, the third world countries, there isn't anxiety because these people have physically got to work to survive. And I don't mean go and sit in an office or dig a road. They have to physically go out, find their food, find their water, carry their water, and so on. Here, we don't need to do any of that. Now, I put a little post up the other day about anxiety being an epidemic in the Western world, because I don't know whether you've heard about the fact that allergies are rife in the Western world as well, because we're all so fanatical about germs that we keep everything really clean and really sterile. And it's been proven that kids who live on farms where there's a huge amount of microbes being thrown around by animals and by feed and by hay and so on and so forth have less allergies than people who live in the cities who keep their homes immaculately clean. What happens is the body needs something to do. We're talking specifically about allergies here, not anxiety right this minute, but it's similar. So the body needs something to do. And what it does, it creates hypoallergenic system. So you've got asthma, and you've got allergies to this, and you've got fibromyalgia and things where it's actually attacking the body because it's got nothing to do. The immune system hasn't got anything to do. Now, anxiety comes up in the same way in the Western world because it's got nothing to be anxious about, and it's looking for something to be anxious about. So it will create stuff because we've got it really easy. We have everything that we need. The Western world is driven by commercialism, so we're constantly told we haven't got everything that we need, just so that we can go out and buy more stuff and buy more stuff and get better than the people who live next door, and be better than our classmates, and be better than this. Now, that is a first world, Western world construct to get you to feel inadequate for you to go out and buy stuff. Now, the stuff that you need fundamentally is water, food, clothing, and comfort. And comfort as in, you know, shelter from the weather, and maybe comfort from somebody else. That's all we need. We don't need anything else. We don't need flash cars. We don't need 78-inch TVs. We don't need the best phone and so on. So the stuff that we watch on TV really influences how we feel about ourselves. So the average Westerner watches 5 hours of TV every single day, or they're looking at social media, or they're looking at news programs. So think about what it is that you feed into your mind firstly. I saw a lovely quote the other day, and I've got to find it now. Most people treat their brains like a dump. They use low effort, low impact, and lightweight shit. They don't want to put the effort into sorting themselves out, so they pile themselves up on junk. And I'm not talking food, I'm talking about the stuff that they put in their heads. So it's what you're looking at through your eyes. 5 hours of shit on TV, that's going to go in there and stay. 5 hours of watching the adverts that come up between those TV programs, that stuff is going to go in there and stay. Those adverts are designed to make you feel less than you actually are. Because I'm telling you now, each and every one of us is perfect in our own way. And if we were all identical to each other, what a boring world this would be. So 5 hours of crap that we watch. We look at stuff on social media, but we don't rationalize what we see on social media is doctored to hell. You've got a snippet of the best part of somebody's life. You've got no idea what's going on in the background. Now, I've had this conversation with clients of mine where they've got friends who are absolutely perfect. Now, this friend is telling you that they're absolutely perfect. If anybody tells you that they're absolutely perfect, I can guarantee that they've got way more problems than you are, but they're just too fucking scared to actually go and find out how to change them. They're too scared to be seen as less than they think they should be. One of the most beautiful things that we have as human beings is our vulnerability, our flaws. Now, another thing that goes on with anxiety, and I used to do this a lot, if I cocked up, I used to hide it. And as a consequence, that anxiety used to follow me around. Oh God, they're going to find out. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. If that's you, if that's the way that you tend to hide things that you've done wrong, or you're scared of messing up, let it go. Because if you mess up and you fess up, firstly, the impact is going to be way, way, way less than they find out in a couple of weeks' time. Secondly, your absolute and utter vulnerability will make the consequence of you fessing up way less than you hiding it and you having to drag around that fear and that anxiety because you're trying to hide something. And it was a lesson I had to learn big time. I lost my company for many, many years ago, thousands upon thousands of pounds, and I cocked up. My fault. It was absolutely my fault. But I fessed up straight away. I absolutely put my hands up and said, yeah, I cocked up. I should have got this piece of information straight away and I didn't get it. And as a consequence, my boss couldn't do anything. He could have fired me on the spot. But because I was totally open and because I was very honest about it, I think probably was a little bit flawed. But if you've done something wrong, don't hide it. Fess up to it. Don't carry it around. Fess up to it and just take it on the chin. A lot of people run around in the weird notion that nothing's ever going to go wrong, or it shouldn't go wrong. Can I please, please, please tell you folks that the place that you are going to learn, the place that you are going to discover who you are and what you're capable of is when you fuck up. I don't mean go out and deliberately fuck up. You go out and you do the job that you're supposed to do, or you attempt what it is that you want to do. But when you get it wrong, that is when you grow. That is when you learn. That is when you come to actually respect yourself because you understand how you deal with solutions. But sitting there worrying about something that might never, ever happen isn't helpful. So if you get into that worrying mode, oh shit, have a quick think about something that maybe you're trying to hide. Have a think about what maybe you're hiding that's creating anxiety. I'm not pointing any fingers, but it's easier to, when you've become honest with yourself and you realize, oh God, I'm hiding this or I'm hiding that, and that stuff comes into consciousness, it's easier to deal with. Now, the other side of it is that if you're sitting there looking at the future and worrying about what's going to happen in the future, then you're doing yourself a disservice because you're not tackling anything. You're sitting there paralyzed and you're becoming helpless. Now, being helpless means that you're a victim. You're an absolute victim. So shift it. It's not much of a shift. Sit there and go, oh, I'm worried about that. Okay, what can I do? What can I do right now? Okay. And just make a note of what it is that you can do right this minute, right now. Okay, I can't do anything about it right now. Okay. What plan can I make? Right, I can plan this and I can plan that and I can plan that. So write it down if it's easier. The brain likes stuff to be written down because when it's written down, you have to use two different parts of your brain to do the writing. And it feels more confident in you because you've written it down. It thinks that you've dealt with it. Your brain is just a big lump of I'm going to say a big biocomputer, and it doesn't know what's real and what's not real. I don't know how many of you have had dreams where you've actually woken up, but you thought that that dream was real. Well, your brain doesn't know the difference. So if you tell the brain that whatever it is that you're worrying about has been sorted out, the brain will calm down. The BLA exercise is beautiful for that one. It likes conclusions. So the next aspect of worry is starting to worry about other people. Now, if they are adults, it's none of your goddamn business. If they are adults, they can sort their own stuff out. Don't go into helping somebody else out. If you haven't sorted out your own shit, what gives you the right to go and sort somebody else out? The other thing is that they might not be asking for your help. So make sure if you are going to dive in and help somebody else, that you've asked them first or that they've asked you for their permission. Because if you just dive in and willy-nilly help somebody without them asking, you could be depriving them of something. You could be pushing them in a direction that they don't need to go. You could be foisting your stuff on them, which isn't suiting them. It doesn't work for them. So if you're worrying and anxious about other people and they're adults, let it go, because actually they need to sort it out themselves. You are not the mother of them. Yes, I'm sitting here talking to you, but you don't have to take my advice. So kids, so far as kids are concerned, and being a parent myself, I know what it's like, and you do worry about your kids and you can get anxious about your kids. But let me tell you now, an anxious parent creates an anxious child. You are teaching that child how to be anxious. So please just sit back, let that kid fall over and graze his knee. And what I used to do with my daughter, when she fell over and grazed her knee, I would kiss the good knee better to tell the bad knee that it shouldn't have got hurt in the first place. So I would give it a positive affirmation in the respect that the good knee's the one that is working properly, not the bad one. With kids, let them make mistakes. Don't hover over them. Give them time to breathe. Give them time to learn who they are. Give them time to experiment, to mess about. Don't make them wrong. Don't put shame in those kids. A lot of us are sitting here watching this video because shame has been put in us, and I know that because I was one of them. I don't have it anymore because I've let it go. But it's taken me 40 years of hard study and work to actually work out how to let go of my shame. Now I can help you do that. So if you want to come onto my program, book a free call with me, and it helps you let go of shame. It helps you let go of anxiety. It helps to let you see who you fundamentally are. It lets you see where you interact with the world and how the hooks of the world have got you and how to release from that. So there's my little plug. Now, so with kids, please just make sure they know that they are safe, that they're fed, that they have what they need. You put down certain boundaries where they know they're not allowed to step over. But do not become anxious around them or over them or hover them and squeeze them and squidge them and try and push them into a little box. Because remember how fucking awful it felt when you did it, when it was done to you? When you were told, oh, we only want the best for you, but you felt really shit because your parents made you into something that you actually weren't. So just let your kids be your kids, guide them, don't push them, don't hover, and don't become anxious about them. Just make sure they're safe, they're fed, and they've got somewhere to sleep and they've got love. That's all they need. So somebody was talking to me about law of attraction and anxiety, and I hear what was being said, that there's a lot of talk about law of attraction and it triggers anxiety. Now I'm hearing you now, so far as law of attraction is concerned, let it go for the moment. Law of attraction really, in very, very simple terms, is saying that you get where you look. Whatever it is that you're focusing on, you will get. So if you're focusing anxiously on something, then you're going to feel anxious. It's that simple. So the job here is to work out how to let go of anxiety. I'll give you a beautiful example of one of my clients, and she had a medical appointment she had to get to. It was a complication. She had to get to this appointment. She got to her car, she got a flat battery, she got a flat tire. And instead of going into stress and anxiety, she sat back and went, okay, nothing I can do about that. So she rang up the relevant people and chilled while they were waiting while she was waiting for them to come. She had a choice of going into, oh my God, oh no, I'm not going to make the appointment. No. She had that choice, or she had the choice to ring up the clinic and say, listen, I'm late. I've got a flat battery, got a flat tire, waiting for the repairman to come. And that's what she did. But she was so excited when she realized that she could do that, when that was an option. Sometimes in anxiety, we don't realize we have an option to sit back and go, okay, what can I do right now? Oh, I can do this, that. Fine, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to let the rest of it go because I can do nothing about it. So let's go back to the law of attraction. Getting anxious about the law of attraction, guess what? It's going to create anxiety. Once we can let go of the anxiety, then things start to flow forwards, and you will feel how things start to flow forwards. So becoming anxious about the law of anxiety is you're getting exactly what the law of anxiety, that's a good one, isn't it? Law of anxiety, law of attraction. Getting anxious about the law of attraction is giving you exactly what the law of attraction talks about, is anxiety. So let it go. Look at what you can do in this moment right now. And we're trying to change our brain chemistry. Now, with a panic attack, a lot of people are talking to me about panic attacks. I went to the dentist, and you probably know it's not a good experience. And as a consequence, when I'd finished, my body was absolutely full of adrenaline, and that's one of the chemicals that really is quite difficult to shift, and it does create anxiety. So I was driving home feeling anxious, sweaty, and that's adrenaline. That wasn't me having a panic attack. That was me recognizing that was adrenaline, but that's what a panic attack feels like. So firstly, with a panic attack, a lot of the time we're and then we can't breathe. But because our brains aren't engaging, because we are in a state of fight and flight, and we want to go, we want to literally physically run, our primal system does. We've pulled in all of this air to fuel our blood with oxygen. We've filled our body with adrenaline so that we can do that 3 or 4 mile run that we need to do to get away from those tigers or hyenas that are chasing us, whatever it is. It's that simple. But we need to get the adrenaline out. Well, of course, I was in the car, so I couldn't go out and run. But that is a really good solution to get rid of excess adrenaline. Go out and do some physical exercise. Dance, 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 dance. It's one of the best things to do. It really brings up the endorphins. It floods your brain with beautiful chemicals. But anyway, I've gone off topic. So when you are going into panic attack, you can feel it. Your blood is full of oxygen. It's flowing through your system faster than it would do normally. And also you're full of adrenaline. So do your breathing. Like I said, I'm going to be as high as a kite by the time I finish this. 3 times. Okay, that will start to bring it down. Then breathe out. Actually, I've done that the wrong way around. So disregard what I've just said. Disregard it. Right, dealing with a panic attack. Ignore what I've just said. I go off tangent quite a lot. Am I anxious? Nah. Am I worried about the fact that you think I'm a dick? Nah. Am I worried about the fact that I've cocked up? Nah. Doesn't bother me at all. You've got a choice. You can tune out or not. Doesn't matter. Right. Panic attack. Number 1, you have flooded your system. So you've gone, but you haven't consciously done it. You're not thinking about it. You're just doing it. Your primal system is kicking in and doing this for you. Your subconscious is doing it. So you've flooded your blood with oxygen and adrenaline so you can do that run. But what's happened is you breathed in. Then you panic because you can't breathe in. And then it's a real panic because you can't breathe. But what you haven't registered in your panic and your anxiety is that you breathed in. So there's no more room for anything to come in. So when you get that, I can't breathe, breathe out immediately. And again, breathe out. And again. So when you get that horrible sensation of fight, flight, and you can't breathe, it will be because you breathed in and you're still on the in breath. So breathe out. But you need to register very quickly getting into your mind rather than into the panic. So if you notice that you're panicking, then you look at something that's not moving, for instance. Breathe out. So I'm looking at the phone because it's here. Hi, guys. So I'm looking at the dot on the phone. Now the dot on the phone is telling me that I'm here. I know I'm here. I'm not actually. I'm so flipping high from doing all this breathing. But anyway, so the dot on the phone is telling me I'm here. So when you're in that panic, you find something that you focus on that is telling you that you are right here, right now, and you breathe out. And then you breathe in through your nose and then out slowly. Breathe in through your nose, out slowly. Do it 3 times and you will find your system will start to calm down. Again, the vagal massage, remember the one, I'm not standing up to do that one again, but that is pulling your tummy muscles into, if that's your tummy, pulling your tummy muscles into the back, into your back. So you're sort of snatching them back, almost so that you're trying to massage your backbone, and you do it regularly over a period of about 30 seconds. That will also change your brain chemistry because you're telling your brain that everything's a-okay and that you're calm and that you're in control. Now remember, the more practice you put in, if you're struggling with anxiety, and please, not a label of anxiety because it's hip and it's trendy. I'm talking about people who genuinely struggle with anxiety. If you are struggling with anxiety, put into practice the tips I've given you. And remember that you are not broken. You are fine. It's just that you are into your head too much. So what you're needing to do is get out of your thinking process and get into your physicality. Start to take notice about what's going on in your body. Start to take notice the sensations that are physically happening in your body. Reconnect to yourself. A lot of people say when they have a panic attack, they feel they aren't of the world. They're not attached to their body. That is really important to draw your attention. Notice your feet on the floor. Notice if you're sitting down, your bum on the seat. Notice if you're standing up, if you're holding something. Notice what it is that's in your hand. So you're bringing your attention out of this sort of almost existential experience and bringing it back to something physical so that you are absolutely grounded. But for those who really do struggle with anxiety, now you can be as hip as you like, and it's like, oh my God, I'm anxious. Do it. I don't care. Not interested. But for those of you who are genuinely anxious, the more you put this stuff into practice, the more your mind will actually start to trust that you've got it. When you're going into really hyper anxiety, nothing in your system thinks that you are in control. Now you are actually in control. I'll prove it to you. Look me in the eyes. Okay, what happened then? Did some disaster befit you? Have you managed to wreck your phone in the space of that? You are in control. But you're telling your mind that you're not in control. You're telling your brain that you're not in control. And your brain's going, oh, fuck, I've got to make some stuff up and see if I can get this into control. And your body's going, oh my God, I've got to go and run 12 miles to get away from a saber-toothed tiger. And it's getting worse and it's getting worse. And So no wonder your body, your mind and your brain doesn't trust you, because you're not putting it into a place that it feels safe. So put into practice the exercises that I've shown you. Exercising the vagal nerve, doing your breathing out, and then as you breathe out, a nice big smile, sigh. Write down the things that you can do when you notice that your mind's starting to spin out of control. You go, whoa, hang on, I'm fine this minute. Right now, this minute, you are absolutely fine. You are fine now, this minute. If you're thinking about something that might go wrong in the future, write it down. How often has it gone wrong for you? How often is it when you've got in that, whatever it is, let's say a car, I don't want to, because I don't want to instill phobias in anybody, but let's say, for instance, oh, every time I walk down the street, I fall down a manhole, and I'm panicking about going down the street because I might fall in a manhole. How many times has that actually happened? It might have happened to you once, which might have put the anchor in there in the first place, but how many times has it happened since? The chances are never. So be logical. So when these thoughts start to come up, you stop. Is it true? That's your first question. And if you write it down, your brain starts to calm, because remember that you're using two different hemispheres of your brain to write and to read. And also you're calming another bit of your brain because it's got to do something else now. The brain doesn't like to do lots of things at once. So if you're writing, it's having to calm down because it's having to allow you to write. So write it down. It's the strongest one, but if you haven't got a pen and paper, don't do it. Or if you're driving, don't do it. So write it down. Is it true that I'm going to fall down a manhole next time I go up to the shops? Is it actually true that I'm going to fall down a manhole next time I go up to the shops? And if it's true, I want you to find the evidence that it's going to happen. Find the evidence. Your mind would have to have a fucking time machine to go out into the future to come back and prove to you that you're going to fall down a manhole, okay? But write it down. It calms the mind down. And if you end up in a panic where you have myriads and hundreds and thousands of thoughts that are going on all over the place, do the blah exercise. Write, as if you're like, and doesn't matter what the hell you put down there, because it's not for you to read. When you've finished writing it, screw it up and chuck it in the bin. So no full stops, no capitals, no paragraphs, no end of sentences. It's all one massive word, and you just write for whatever's in there. Put it down on that paper. Smarties, bullshit, window, all blinds, all computer, all TikTok. Just write it all down, and the mind goes, ah. She knows what she's doing, because it's out rather than whizzing around in my head. So the more you put this stuff into practice, and the clients who worked with me will tell you this, the more you put it into practice, the more confident you feel about dealing with situations of anxiety. Your mind will calm down because it trusts you. It trusts you to deal with it. Your brain will stop going into ridiculous thoughts that don't help. They might sneak up and it'll be, but what about, and just do that. If you notice a little voice, a mind monkey coming up going, but what about that pothole? Just say, excuse me, thank you for reminding me about the pothole, but I would like you to go in your little time machine and go and find it. And then change the sound of that little voice. How does it sound? Does it sound like Mickey Mouse, or somebody really low and really slow? Change how that dialogue sounds, if it won't leave you alone. And then make it smaller and make it go and do whatever it's you're asking it to do. But you're the one that needs to teach your mind and brain that you are in control. And you are in control. Remember, you are all right now. You are absolutely fine. Right. Another exercise. When your mind goes off and goes, oh, what about when this happens? Oh, what about when that might happen? And this might happen. And what's going to, okay, stop. So if you notice your brain whizzing off going, oh, what about if I fall down a manhole cover? I'm going to stay with that one. Stop again. Think about this. What happens if you don't? So when you notice your mind going into the negative, oh, what happens if I'm going to fall down a manhole cover? Oh, stop. I'm all right this minute, right here, right now. I'm fine. What happens if I don't fall down a manhole cover? So you flip it. You flip all the negative stuff that you're telling yourself that creates anxiety. And remember, you're making it up. You are making it up. You might have had a previous experience that has created a worry, but if you bring it into the here and now and then say it's going to happen in the future, you're being Mystic Meg, or you're being, I don't know, I can't think of any fortune tellers, but you are just making shit up and telling yourself that that's going to happen in the future. Just because it's happened in the past does not mean it'll happen again. Doesn't mean it in any way, shape or form. So if past thoughts come in, stop them and go, okay, thank you for the tip off, but what happens if? And then you turn it into the positive. So what happens if I fall down the manhole cover? Oh shit, what happens if I don't? Start training your brain to trust you. Start training your brain to calm down. Give it the techniques to calm down. Now, people have spoken to me about phobias. Phobias, okay, yeah, it's anxiety of a form, but phobias are things that really need a treatment as such. Now, NLP is brilliant for getting rid of phobias. What's happened is, in the past, at some point, you might not be aware of it, and it doesn't really matter whether you're aware of it or not, but something's happened where that phobia has been anchored in your brain. So it gets triggered when anything remotely like that anchor comes up. That phobia comes up as well. Now, NLP will go in there and teach you how to unhook that trigger so that you let go of the phobia. I have seen it done so many times. I've done it with clients, and it is beautiful, it's gentle, and you don't have to re-traumatize yourself to go in and listen to unhook a phobia. Let's call it unhook a phobia. And the other thing is with trauma, people who are traumatized get sort of stuck because they can't let the trauma go, only because they don't know how to. And that's not a criticism. Sometimes we're not taught that we can think differently. I didn't know this. I suffered with anxiety and depression all my flipping life because I didn't know there was a different way to be. I didn't know that literally just by changing my thinking, I could change the way that I feel. So with trauma, sometimes it will get locked. It will get locked in the body and it'll get locked in the mind, and a trigger will come up. And sometimes you need external help just to let go of that trigger. And it works beautifully because you don't have to re-traumatize yourself to do it. A client of mine had a horrible trauma when she was a kid. She was repeatedly abused by one particular person. Now, I couldn't tell you whether that person physically, sexually, mentally, or physically abused her. I couldn't tell you what the abuse was. All I know, it was the same person, a man, who did it frequently when she was growing up. And as a consequence, she got triggered in adulthood. And we worked through this using NLP. I can't tell you what the issue was, but she doesn't have it any longer, just by using NLP. So sometimes we need a little bit of assistance to get a hook out of ourselves, an anchor out of ourselves, and replaced with something that is calming and gives you something that you're going to feel confident about. And you need to start to train your brain to feel confident in you and your abilities, because remember, right here, right now, you are fine. So what I'm going to do for the last, where are we now, 10 minutes, is do a meditation. So I would like you to, and if you're going to, you know, I'm going to ask you to go and find a place, doesn't matter where, and when I say a place, I don't mean a beach or a tree or what have you, a time in your life where you felt really free and you felt really happy. Now, if you've never felt that way, make it up. Just make it up. Create a scenario that would make you really happy and feel great. Okay, so what I want you to do, just go and find that memory. I'm probably going to shut my eyes during this because it tends to be easier for me to lead a meditation that is going to shift your perspective, because it will shift your perspective. And once we finish the meditation, you will feel positive. You will feel quite excited. You will feel curious, because one of the gifts that we have as humans is curiosity. A lot of the fear that we have is the future. Replace your fear with curiosity. Replace your fear with curiosity. If you cock up, you cock up. You've grown. You've learnt. The issue that the human being has is they don't want to be in emotional pain. The issue is that if you avoid emotional pain, it hangs around for a lot longer. If you avoid emotional pain, it creates more pain inside you, because that really beautiful part of you is going, please let me out. Please, please, please heal me. Please let me be free. But with all your anxious thoughts and you're keeping it squashed. You are beating yourself up. You are torturing yourself. So create confidence within your own mind. Let your mind and your brain and your body be confident in you, and knowing that you can deal with things if you cock up, because you will. No matter how anxious you get, you will cock up. That's the way life is. Things don't run the way we want it to. We're fed a fairy tale that everything in this life should be perfect. And this is the Western world, remember? The Western world wants us to spend our flipping money because we feel discontent. And we're fed this beautiful fairy tale that everything's going to be perfect, everything's going to be happy ever after. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Life is full of problems. Life has got adversity that comes to us all the way through our lives. It's just up to us to see how we deal with it. When we have problems that come our way, then if we go into panic mode and stress and anger and uptight and anxiety, it doesn't help. When it comes our way and we relax and work out how to deal with it efficiently, then our minds go, oh, that's nice, calm. I had a hot water flipping pipe burst on me on Friday. And I'd got a 400-mile journey to do that day. And I got water gushing out all over my kitchen floor. Normally, I could fix it. This one, I couldn't, because I couldn't find it. And instead of going into panic, admittedly, I did briefly. Like, oh, shit, I've got all this to do. And I'm blah, blah. But it didn't last very long. I let it go. What can I do? Nothing. right at this moment, I can't do anything. The only thing I can do is turn off the water. So I turned off the water and then found people who could do the repair. That's it. No anxiety, no panic, brief, very, very brief. So go into doing rather than thinking. Get into doing. Get into solutions, not worrying and worrying about the problems. Now, if any of you are really, really struggling with anxiety and a lot of the exercises I've given you, you've tried and it's not working and so on, and you want a private consultation with me, book an appointment. Go to my website. I do a free 20-minute consultation, and then I will book a consultation with you. I am not doing it free of charge. This is how I earn my money. And if you're getting pissed off about that, then bye, don't care. Now, the work I do with clients who struggle with anxiety is very, very simple, very, very straightforward. Some of it is a little bit sort of counter, what do they call it? Counterintuitive, because it isn't the way that we've been taught. But we've never, ever been taught to think differently. We've been taught to think this way. So we've never been taught to think differently. If we can shift our thinking just slightly, the difference is unbelievable. So, right. I've gone off tangent again. So I'm going to finish the video. We're going to do a nice meditation. So go to that time that you remember as being a wonderful time. A wonderful time. Time when you were happy, when you were carefree, where you felt free, joyful, whatever. And if you haven't felt that, then create it. Because you know what you want to feel like. You do know what you want to feel like. So go and create it. Okay. So we'll start the meditation now. Breathing in through your nose, noticing the temperature of the air as it goes in, and then breathing out and noticing the temperature of the air as you're breathing out. Breathing in, becoming more and more relaxed. Breathing out, letting go of thoughts that no longer serve you. Keeping your breathing going at a slightly slower and a slightly deeper pace in your own rhythm. And all I'm doing is talking to your subconscious. And as you breathe in, you become more and more relaxed. Breathing out, letting go. Every single day you will notice your confidence growing. And I want you to go to that beautiful time where you felt happy, carefree, abandoned in the moment, safe, content. Feel how that beautiful feels inside you. Feel that beautiful, knowing just fill that space up, that memory. Fill it up. That sparkles. Are there any sounds? Are there any beautiful sounds? What about tastes? Smells? Fill that space up. Feel where it emanates from in your body. Feel where that beautiful feeling is coming from within your body. And step inside that beautiful feeling right now. Right now. Feeling how amazing your body feels. Your body is so grateful that you are now learning how to take notice of it. So the next time you hear a siren, that will be your reminder to go and nurture your body by recreating this beautiful feeling. Because it's here at your fingertips at any time that you want. And I want you to lift yourself up, 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 up to the stratosphere with this beautiful feeling, this gorgeous feeling, knowing that you are safe right here, right now. You're looking out into the wonder that is space, and you are safe and contented and feeling wonderful. You are there, you are alone, and you still feel amazing, safe, wonderful. You're looking in awe at the vastness of the universe as it stretches out in front of you, underneath you, around you. You are safe, warm, contented, knowing that you have everything within you to tackle any adversity, any problem, any situation that comes your way, even though it might not be wanted. You recognize that you have the strength and the confidence to deal with anything that comes your way. And then coming back down, 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 I want you to whiz yourself 5 years into the future, still with this amazing feeling. Look back at all of those things that you've achieved because you have let go of all of the anxiety, of all of those things that you put in your way, that you used to stop yourself from achieving what you wanted to achieve. You've let those all go, and you are looking back across 5 years. Look at those things that you've achieved. Feel how that feels. Really expand that feeling. That feeling of pride, absolute confidence without cockiness, just quiet, gentle confidence, self-assuredness, pride, because you know who you are. Now turn your back on the 5 years and come backwards through those 5 years to this present point in time, filling yourself up with all of those achievements, all of that pride, all of that sense of contentment, self-assuredness, and land right now at this point in time. Press something next to you, push your feet into the floor, fingers into the seat, touch something soft. notice that any time that you need to recreate that feeling, it's there. You just touch something with that intention. Let that feeling wash through your system, knowing that you can conquer and deal with any problems, any adversity, any pain that comes into your life. You deal with it. You deal with it with intelligence and with ease. And I'm going to get you to wake up on the count of 3. On the count of 3, you're going to be wide-eyed, curious, no more fear, curious about what you can achieve, curious about where your life can take you, and knowing that you will learn from any mistake you make, you will grow and become bigger and better. So on 1, you now know that you are perfect just as you are. You can achieve anything that you want to achieve. 2, noticing your body and connecting to your body, nurturing your body, thanking your body for supporting through your life, keeping your heart beating, breathing, seeing, tasting, all of those experiences that you take for granted, thanking your body. And 3, wide awake, full of curiosity, looking for the next exciting adventure that you're going to go on, knowing that anything and everything that comes your way, you will deal with beautifully. Even if you make a mess, it's fine. It's fine. You're growing all the time. You're moving forwards all the time. And that you, right here, right now, are perfect. So anybody who does want to come and join my program, please go to my website, book a free call. I'll talk you through, there's 2 levels of program. One where you're working quite intensely with me on a one-to-one basis, and one where you're working with me and with other people in a group situation. And you will be running a program that you do in your own time, which is all me doing tiki-toki type videos and so on, but it's all specific to do with you becoming whole, you becoming confident, you becoming self-assured, you no longer being lost. You are found. You've never been lost. But I'm going to take you back there. So if you're interested in coming and joining the program, the end of September, I've got a group starting. So if you want to join on that program, book a free call with me. Go to my website. That's thesingingzookeeper.com. thesingingzookeeper.com. I will teach you how to become your own zookeeper, because the zookeeper bit is about the mind monkeys. It's the little chattery things that don't serve us well. The results we're getting are beautiful. My clients are absolutely lovely. It makes my heart swell every time I work with them. So I want more of those clients like you. Come and join the program. So email me, book a free call with me, and I wish you all the best. You guys are absolutely rocking. I love working with you guys, and I will see you in the next video.